Good morning guys, Jordan here from Artisan Electrics. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on future videos. Today I am busy working in this house, which as you can see is a little bit of a building site. Basically the customers just bought the house recently and they're doing a few little renovations before they move in. So I'm here today to do a few little things. First of all, doing an EICR on the property. While it's kind of semi-empty, it's just a good opportunity to test out everything. Also, I'm going to be fitting a dual zone Nest thermostat system. So basically, the property's got two thermostats at the moment, two heating zones, one upstairs and one downstairs. I'm going to be replacing that system with a Nest system so that we've got two Nest smart thermostats to connect the heating up and downstairs and control it a little bit more smartly. So that'll be a nice little project. And the other thing I've got to do is, I'm going to show you, it's up here. So basically he's doing a bit of alterations, shall we say, up in this room here. It looks like basically this was a bedroom with an ensuite, and he's removed the wall of the ensuite and he's basically going to turn this, I don't know what he's going to turn it into actually, to be honest, but as you can see we've got kind of cables hanging out of the ceiling and stuff. So this is the old fan control switch, trickle boost. So I've got to just kind of get rid of this basically. The fan's going and the fuse connection unit here, switch fuse connection unit, which is again for the fan, just a 3 amp fuse protection for the fan. So gonna get rid of that, get rid of the fan. The light is staying. The switch has been relocated to here already, so he just did that himself. He didn't actually touch any of the connections, he just literally moved it. But I'm just gonna double check that anyway, make sure that that's safe, obviously. And then down here, there's a socket that was in the stud wall for the ensuite, but obviously it's no good being there anymore. So what I'm going to do with that is put these cables into a maintenance free junction box and put them in the floor. So I've got to probably cut a hole in this chipboard here. I wish I had that super rod kind of hole cutter set thing. That would come in quite handy now, but I'm just going to use a normal arm egg hole saw, cut a hole in the floor, put a Wago box on it, and then put the junction box in the floor and then seal the hole again afterwards. So that's today's work. These are the current thermostats, so they're these Siemens controllers for the central heating at the moment. They are hardwired, so there is wiring there. This one is going to be a wall-mounted Nest thermostat, but the one downstairs is going to be a stand-mounted one because they didn't want it in the current location, which is in the hallway. It's a bit annoying really that they usually do thermostats in hallways because it's kind of a bit pointless, because you don't really want your hallway nice and cozy, you want your living room cozy. So this is the hallway at the moment, and obviously, you know, the thermostat's only going to be detecting the temperature in the hallway really, not in the principal room, which is obviously this living room. So I'll just show you the consumer unit, show you what we've got here. So it's a Crabtree Starbreaker consumer unit. Dual RCD. We've got 7 circuits, so we've got cooker sockets, upstairs lights, and then sockets, water heater, downstairs lights and smoke detectors. So it's a new build house from 2013, so there shouldn't be any major issues with it hopefully, but we'll see. Obviously it's due for inspection in 2023, so it's got a little bit of time yet, but he doesn't have any of the original paperwork and he just wants, you know, to know that it's safe before he moves in. So I just recommended doing an EICR, and then we can have it thoroughly inspected before he moves in, while it's easy to access everything. Yeah, so gonna get started and let you know how I get on. Right, so I'm just having a look at this lighting and power cables down in here now. That switch is a live switch, so it's got the neutral to the switch there. This fan, I've never seen one of these before. Greenwood air vac, sounds very professional, doesn't it? An air vacuum. Anyway, yeah, one of these cables goes from this switch fuse connection unit to this speed controller, and then from there we've got a 3-core going to the fan. So presumably we've got permanent live and neutral in this twin and earth coming from the fuse connection unit to here, and then from here we've got also permanent live, switch live from the trickle and boost switch, and neutral and earth going to the fan. So I guess I can disconnect the 3-core from the fan to here, disconnect this twin and earth from here to the switch fuse connection unit, and that will just leave us with what looks like probably feed in and feed out, which I can just connect together into a junction box, Wago box, put it up in the ceiling there, and that'll do the trick. Now, a lot of you might have noticed more recently in my videos I'm starting to show safe isolation more, and there's a reason for that. Because as my audience gets larger and larger, I have even more of a responsibility to actually try and do things properly. And someone did sort of pick me up on it that I never really showed safe isolation in my videos. So a lot of the time I'll show you me using my proving unit and checking my tester, then checking the circuit to make sure it's dead, then checking again with my proving unit. I can't do it all the time because I kind of, rushing around, but I always check to make sure a circuit's dead before I start working on it. And you should too, and that's not virtual signaling or something like that. That's just basically sensible and respect for life, because at the end of the day, we've only got one life and we better take care of it, because it only takes one bad shock to kill us. So anyway, I'm going to whip this off, make sure it's dead, and then just start pulling everything apart. Yeah, so this is dead, and it's exactly as I thought. So you've got basically 2 cables coming in, so sort of feed in, feed out, and then you've got the fused side, the outgoing side, which just goes to this fan controller and then goes to the fan. So those cables I can rip out, and then the in and the out I will just connect together in Wago box and put it up in the ceiling. Okay, so that's out now. Fan cable's just cut off, and I've just pulled that out. There is this TV point cable as well, which I guess I'll need to do something with, but that I can just cut that off and basically tape it up and just tuck it up there. So that's not a problem. And then these 2 cables I'm just gonna connect together in a Wago box. And then we're all good, and then I just need to do that socket down there. Right, so here we go. I've got my 2 cables connected together now in my Wago connectors. A couple of things to note. I've started using 2mm sleeving now for the earths, and it's nice. I'm enjoying that. Someone gave me that little tip, so thanks for that. Secondly, some people ask me, why do you use Wagos? They're more expensive. Why don't you use Ideal connectors or something like that? And to be honest, Ideal did contact me, and they sent me some free product, and they said, if you like it, can you do a sponsored video? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll take a look at it. And I'm just not happy with the quality of the Ideal, the inshore boxes. I tried to fit a couple and they just fell apart basically when I tried to close them. I mean, there were quite a lot of cables in there, but I've got one down here, look. Just to show you, this is the difference. They're just a bit flimsy quality really. I just don't really like them, and the design and everything. I just prefer the Wago boxes, and people probably say I'm a bit of a snob or something like that, but for me quality is so important. Quality manufacturing, quality products, and Wago is the best out there as far as I've found, and I always like to fit the best for my customers. I know somebody will say, but it's just going to be hidden in a ceiling and nobody's ever going to see it again. But at the end of the day, there's electricity passing through this thing, and I want to make sure that it's high integrity and it's going to last a long time. And I just don't quite have that feeling of confidence in the Ideal products that I do in the Wago products. I've not had a single Wago box go wrong on me, or Wago connectors go wrong on me. They've been absolutely brilliant. So for the moment, I'm not converted yet to Ideal. I'm just sticking to Wago's, and I was thinking, man, I wish Wago would contact me and offer me a sponsorship, because I'd love to be sponsored by their products. They make brilliant products. But hey ho. The thing is, I will always promote products that I genuinely believe are great quality. I'm never going to promote something that I don't actually believe in. I'm not just going to try and, because I know that you guys listen to my recommendations, and you buy stuff when I make recommendations on my channel. That's why sponsors are contacting me, because they want to get their products in front of your eyeballs, which is fair enough. And if it's a good product, then, great. I'm really happy to share interesting and innovative and high quality products with you. But I'm not just going to flog something because I'm offered some money for it, but I don't actually believe in the product. So yes, Wago is my go-to at the moment. And I've mentioned this in a previous video, but for those of you who haven't seen that one, you're supposed to put a cable tie through here in order for it to actually be maintenance free. You're supposed to just put a cable tie through there. I mean, as far as I can see, it doesn't make that much difference really, but I guess it's just so that if someone pulls on it, the lid's not going to like flap open. But these lids are so like solidly built, and they're actually hard to open up again by hand, so I wouldn't really worry about it. But yeah, you should put cable ties through for it to be maintenance free anyway. The only issue I've had with Wagos is the whole ring circuit thing, because Wagos are only rated at 20 amps. So like these connectors, which are designed for 2.5s, they've got a rating of 20 amps, if you can see that on the side of it. So technically, some people say you shouldn't use these on a ring circuit, because although the load is spread around both halves of the circuit, so I mean even the cable itself in a ring circuit is only rated at about 20 amps. It could, under fault conditions, have more than 20 amps going through it, blah, blah, blah. Or, maybe if there's an imbalance on the ring circuit, actually one half of the ring circuit could be taking more power, stuff like that. So the good thing about the Ideal connectors I do like is that some of them are rated at 32 amps. I mean, to be fair, these connectors themselves are not really, they're barely any different from Wago connectors. So the actual connectors themselves are fine, really. I do use them sometimes. These splice line connectors are actually really good, and Wago don't really do anything like that. But they're rated at 32 amps, so you could use these on a ring circuit, with full confidence. For me, I'm not really, bothered about using a 20 amp connector on a ring circuit. But I've got these as well from Wago, and these are rated at 30 amps. They're more kind of designed for 6mm cables and stuff like that, but 2.5 will fit in there fine. And as you can see on the side there, somewhere here, they are rated at 30 amps. It's very hard to see because it's small writing, but yeah, there you go. You can just about see that, 30 amps. So these are great actually for connecting, like if you ever have to extend a cooker circuit or 6mm for a shower or something like that, you could use these, quite handy. Or maybe for EV charging or something like that, as long as it's not going to be taking more than 30 amps, you can use those. So anyway, what I'm going to do is cut these off. It's all isolated and everything. Cut those. Then I've got a hole cutter, which is just the right size that a Wago box can fit inside it. So I'm going to cut that hole just like that, just at the edge of that existing hole. Connect these cables together in my Wago box, and then put them through and just put them underneath the floor there. What I'm going to do is just push the slack through here first, just so that if I do accidentally nick the cables when I'm drilling, at least I only nick the kind of spare bit, if you see what I mean. Shouldn't do anyway, but okay, So I did nick it slightly, you see, but that's fine now because the slack's here, so I can just cut that off. I know you're going to be thinking, oh, you shouldn't be stripping the cable like that. You shouldn't use the earth to strip the cable. You should use your cable stripper tool. Well, guess what? It's in the van, and 99% of electricians don't have a cable stripping tool. They do it this way, and it's never caused a problem to me before. I do like to use my cable stripping tool when I can, but I really can't be bothered right now to go out to the van, get my cable stripping tool and bring it back in again, so sorry. So we just measure those off like that and then just cut them to the right length. Same with this one. Now, question for you. Let me know in the comments. Can you use like ideal connectors in a Wago box? Or is that not allowed? Do you have to, are they type tested? Do you have to use ideal connectors in ideal boxes and Wago connectors in Wago boxes? That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because really, what I'd probably like to do is just use these ideal connectors in here because they're smaller and less expensive than these big chunky Wago connectors. But I think what I'll do is I'll use the Wago connectors for the live and neutrals because they are 2.5, and then I will use the ideal connectors for the earths. Just mix it up a bit, put the cat amongst the pigeons. So neutrals like that, lives like that, and these just go, they just pop in. See, these are just so nicely designed. It's just so easy to use. They're great, you know, and they grip on the cables nicely. And then these ones, these earths, I'm just going to put the ideal connector on because I can. Why not? Just pop that in there as well. That's it. So then I can just close the lid like that. Bob's your uncle. Pop a cable tie on there and then stick it on the floor like that, and it's gone. So this coax I'm just going to coil up and just pop that up above the ceiling. It's not going to do any harm up there. Here we go. Okay, so it's about 12:20, so I'm going to stop for some lunch now. But the Nest thermostats are all done, so that's good. The cables are all put away now. You know, the fan's gone, those cables out of the ceiling are all gone, that one in the floor's gone. He's going to fill the hole in afterwards, so I don't need to worry about that. So now it's just the EICR that's left really, and it should be fairly easy and straightforward because the house is empty, so I can get to everything. But I'm not going to show you like all the details of the EICR because I've done too many EICR videos lately. So you guys know how I do an EICR now. And let's face it, the ones where it's like a standard EICR with nothing really interesting, you don't really watch them anyway. You like the ones where we find loads of nightmare, hideous things and uncover lots of atrocities and near-death experiences and all that drama. I know that you love that kind of thing. So I'll hopefully find some more of those EICRs soon, but at the moment the ones that I've been doing are fairly straightforward, and like this is a new house from 2013, so I doubt if that there's going to be anything of note on here, but if there is I'll show you anyway. Otherwise we'll skip to the end of the video. So welcome back to Confessions of an Over-Enthusiastic DIYer. I just spotted something. Can you see it in the corner of your eye down there? What's that little green box there? Something smells fishy. So I noticed as I was walking around doing the EICR that these switches all look a little bit new and different to the existing switches. Well, the sockets anyway. They look very sort of European, shall we say. And I thought that's kind of unusual for a new build in Cambridge. And then I noticed this box. And look what it's got in it. All the old switches. So my lovely customer didn't tell me that he's gone round and changed all the switches. So I'm hoping that he's not done anything silly when he's been doing it. And the trouble is now is that to get these off is probably going to be a bit of a pain, to be honest. So welcome to the life of an electrician. So fortunately these switches actually come off really easily. This little switch piece here, you just lever it off and then the screws are behind. And they're quite nice actually, these Schneider Lease switches, I must admit. They've got a little loop terminal in the back as well, which is quite nice. But these are all with neutrals in these switches, so he's obviously not even touched the neutrals or the earths. He's just swapped the switches over with the lives, and that's fair enough, you know. I get it. Why pay an electrician to do it when it's a super easy job? So the way he's done this one looks okay, but I'm just going to go around and check quite a few more just to make sure that he's not done anything else. Right, so I thought it would be an uneventful EICR, but there is something interesting that I wanted to share with you, which is the main tails coming in here, because the meter box is actually about a 10-15 meter run away from here. So there's a switch fuse next to the meter box. They've got an additional electrical cabinet there with the switch fuse in. But literally out of the switch fuse just go the tails, and the tails come through the fabric of the building all the way into here, and it appears that they're just literally buried in the wall there. So obviously they don't have earth leakage protection, there's no RCD protection on them, and they're buried in a wall with no mechanical protection, i.e. no earthed metallic sheath or anything. I mean, these single cables don't even have a CPC within the cable. Obviously they're run together and there's an earth wire that's probably run with them, but still it's a bit of a dodgy one, and I'm just wondering, how do you code that really? Is it a C3 or is it a C2? Let me know what you think in the comments.